So last time we were talking about what FND is, and I wanted to do a part two. I think there's lots to talk about in terms of all of us understanding what this condition is. And I want to talk a little bit more about the different aspects of the illness, the diagnosis, and what living with it is like. So, first of all, sorry about the poor image quality today. I don't know what is going on. So just bear with me. So, what is FND? Functional neurological disorder. I really wanted to share my screen to just read out the definition. Okay, I will read it out. So, a functional neurological disorder, now this is in medical terms, is it describes a problem with how the brain receives and sends information to the rest of the body. So if we picture my brain as being like the computer or where the software is stored, this would be like the RAM. I'm not a computer person. So this would be like the RAM of our body, right? The brain sends all the signals to our body. It tells us to talk. It helps us to eat. All the things you do that you don't have to think about. Your brain is already managing and processing all of these different things simultaneously. And you are not a part of it. Your brain just does it automatically. But with FND, this software in your brain, it kind of gets scrambled. I don't know why. I don't know how it happens. I'm not sure the medical people do either. I think, like I always say, I hope and I pray that more funding and research goes to these illnesses that are not well understood. As scientists, as part of our job, right? I'm not a medical scientist, but it is the duty of scientists to be constantly pushing and asking questions why. So the brain kind of gets scrambled, and things that you would normally do, you suddenly have trouble doing. So, some of the symptoms that, before we get to symptoms, right, I want to talk about the diagnosis. The diagnosis is a little bit, I would say, funny in a layman's language because FND is not something that you can test for, right? You can't go to the lab and then they'll be checking these bio indicators and stuff. I don't think any of that shows up there. So typically, people with FND will have clean blood work, the scans on your brain, the MRIs, the CT scans, all of that will show as picture perfect. But the functionality, the working of your brain is affected. And I think this is part of why it's also very misunderstood because it doesn't show up on traditional tests and brain imaging scans and all that. Now, some of the symptoms that someone with FND would exhibit because again it's this is a problem with the functioning of the brain, the software of the brain. The symptoms are so many and they vary on a day-to-day, month-by-month, seasonal basis. So you might have leg weakness in 1 month and then the next month you're able to walk again, and then after 3 months you're not able to walk. It can be very confusing, especially for the patients. So if you are being seen by a doctor who doesn't understand this, how the symptoms can, wane, wax and wane, you could be accused of making up these symptoms. And I'm sorry. But I want you to know today that I believe you. And there are a couple of other people with FND who are going through what you are going through too. So please know that you're not alone and you don't have to feel despair. As long as you know what you're feeling and you know that it's real, that's okay. So the symptoms that I struggle with, last time I spoke about the chronic migraines, which were the biggest issue for me even prior to having FND. And then from the migraines, it went to widespread body pain, so chronic pain, muscle weakness, just different parts of the body. Sometimes I have visual problems, a lot of times actually, that the glasses don't seem to fix. I don't understand it, but I do. I do have difficulty breathing, breathing problems, but that has really improved over the years. For this one, physiotherapy has helped me a lot. I do a lot of breathing exercises, relaxation techniques. I drink a lot of tea. But also, for some of the symptoms, I found that they do have, what can I call it, other underlying health issues. Like with my breathing problem, I was later diagnosed with having chronic bronchitis. So I have these, I will call them bronchitis attacks, which mimic a little bit like asthma attacks, and that really affects my breathing. But understanding that that's not just FND, and it's its own thing, it does help me to manage it, and also the medical experts, the doctors who see me. I have trouble with gait, stability, dizziness, leg weakness. Most of my weakness and fatigue is in my lower half of the body, so from my pelvic area going down to my feet. My upper part of the body has, or it, I was able to regain a lot of use of it quite quickly. But the lower part, that one has been like consistently very weak and very frustrating. I was also diagnosed with fibromyalgia. So, fibromyalgia was diagnosed to me prior to the FND diagnosis, and they seem to kind of live side by side with each other. So, what is fibromyalgia? I'm just opening my webpage. I'm reading from the Hopkins Medicine website, and it says fibromyalgia is a condition that causes pain in the muscles and soft tissues all over the body. It's an ongoing chronic condition, and it can affect your neck, shoulders, back, chest, hips, buttocks, arms, and legs. So, everywhere. The pain may get worse with activity, cold or damp weather, anxiety, and stress. So, definitely for me, I would say that facial spasms. I need to breathe through it. It is exhausting. My heart rate elevates a little bit every time I get facial spasms. I forgot to say that the facial spasms is one of the symptoms. The facial spasms are the worst. They are the most painful. Right. So, fibromyalgia. For me, definitely the pain is worst in the morning. I have trouble sleeping because of the pain, and then I wake up in a lot of pain and I wake up very exhausted. So, mornings are always hardest for me. It takes me a long time to start my day and just get into the groove of it. And yeah, I don't know how or why some of these conditions, exist side by side with each other. I wish I did understand. I do know that fibromyalgia and FND are very interrelated, kind of like first cousins. But yeah, it can be, in the beginning, I would say it can be very overwhelming. And I imagine a lot of people who struggle with, who have been given this diagnosis or struggle with these symptoms, they, I lost my train of thought, struggle with these symptoms, you can feel very overwhelmed, a lot of despair, especially in the beginning, because it feels like your body is breaking down and no one is really giving you an answer. Being diagnosed with an illness that has got no cure, it can be really soul crushing. I think that's the best way I could explain it. Soul crushing. And it can cause some very dark depression, a lot of anxiety, general anxiety, health anxiety. If it helps any, I want you to know that you're not alone. And a lot of us who receive, I think, any kind of chronic illness diagnosis feel the same way. But just like with grief, we have to go through those stages of accepting. A huge part, I think, of the progress I've made over the years has been accepting my health condition, accepting the diagnosis, and accepting that there's no treatment right now. Oh, the cold weather affects me the most of all the triggers. And right now it's cold in Zambia. So my body is twitching, my pain levels are up there. So allow me to break this video down into several parts, bite-sized portions. And I would really encourage anyone who's received a diagnosis or recently has developed a disability, that is, you are not born with it, please reach out for help. See a therapist. Get into, I know CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, is very useful for such cases with these long term illnesses. And it's definitely helped me so much. So I want to end here today. I have so much more to talk about, but I am exhausted. That facial spasm right there, it's pulled. I could feel the muscle is just like pulled and tense here, and I want to go and like just relax a little bit and keep warm. So a few of you have reached out and you've shared with me watching these videos, and I hope that it has helped you if you've recently received if you have recently started struggling with health, received a difficult diagnosis, or know a loved one. I want to encourage you. I want you to know that you are loved, you are seen, and even with this difficult diagnosis and even through your pain, you are valued and you are enough. I'm a believer, I'm Christian, so please know that God hasn't ignored you, He hasn't abandoned you, and He sees you even through the pain and the tears. All right, guys. All right, guys. All right, guys. Till next time. Let me know what else you want me to talk about in the comments, and you can always reach out to me. I have co founded a nonprofit organization. We want to provide mobility aids, assistive devices to underprivileged children with disabilities. So we need your financial support. We need any kind of support you can give us, or if you have mobility aids that you could send to Zambia, send me an email, reach out to me, let me know. Bye.